They said it was already rented. The sentence came so quickly that Marcus almost thought he misheard it, like the decision had been made before the conversation even started. He stood just outside the apartment doorway, one hand resting lightly on the strap of his bag, his eyes moving from the leasing agent's face to the open living room behind her, where sunlight spilled across clean wooden floors and empty space that clearly hadn't been lived in yet. "I just spoke to you this morning," Marcus said, keeping his voice calm and even. "You told me to come see it today." The leasing agent nodded quickly, her smile polite but tight, like she was trying to keep the interaction short. "Yes, I remember," she said. "But someone applied right after that and the unit is no longer available." Marcus glanced past her again, taking in the untouched space, the quiet stillness of a place that didn't look like it had just been claimed. "That was fast," he said. "It happens," she replied, already shifting her body slightly toward the door as if preparing to close the conversation. Marcus didn't move. "I drove across the city for this," he said, not accusing, just stating a fact. The agent gave a small, apologetic nod, the kind that acknowledged effort without offering a solution. "I understand," she said. "I can show you something else if you'd like." Marcus hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Sure," he said. She stepped out, locking the door behind her, and began walking down the hallway toward another unit. Marcus followed, his pace steady, his attention quiet but focused. As they walked, he noticed another couple at the far end of the hall speaking with a different agent. Their conversation relaxed, their body language open, and a moment later, that agent unlocked the same apartment door Marcus had just been turned away from. Marcus slowed slightly. He watched as the couple stepped inside. No hesitation, no explanation, just access. He didn't say anything right away. He let the moment settle first. Then he looked back at the agent walking ahead of him. He said, "That unit was taken," he said. She paused briefly, then turned around, her expression shifting just enough to show she hadn't expected the question. "It is," she replied. "They're just taking a look before finalizing." Marcus held her gaze. "So it's available to look at," he said. The agent hesitated again, this time longer. "We prioritize certain applications," she said. Marcus nodded slowly, processing the words, not reacting emotionally, but understanding exactly what they meant without needing further explanation. "I'd like to apply for that unit," he said. She shook her head lightly. "It's already in process," she replied. Marcus glanced down the hallway again, where the couple was now walking through the living room, pointing at things, discussing details, the same space he had just been denied access to. "I haven't even been given the chance," he said. The agent shifted her posture, crossing her arms loosely. "We move quickly here," she said. Marcus let out a slow breath, not frustrated, not defeated, just aware. "I can see that," he replied. They continued down the hall to another unit, smaller, darker, less open. The agent unlocked the door and gestured inside. "This one is available," she said. Marcus stepped in, looking around briefly. The space felt different immediately, not just in size, but in quality, in light, in everything that made the first apartment stand out. "This isn't the same," he said. "It's what we have right now," the agent replied. Marcus turned back toward her. "The other one is still being shown," he said. She didn't respond right away, because there wasn't a clean answer. Instead, she gave a small, practiced smile. "If anything changes, we'll let you know," she said. Marcus nodded once. "All right," he replied. He walked back out into the hallway, his steps measured, his expression unchanged. As he passed the first apartment again, the couple was now stepping out, smiling, talking about next steps, the agent with them holding a clipboard, nodding along. Marcus didn't stop. He walked past them, toward the exit, the quiet hum of the building surrounding him. Outside, the air felt different, cooler, more open. He stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up at the building, the windows reflecting the afternoon light. It wasn't about the apartment anymore. It was about the pattern. The way decisions were made quickly for some and delayed for others. The way access could change depending on who was asking. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, scrolling briefly before making a call. "Hey," he said when the line connected. "I need a favor." He listened for a moment, then nodded slightly. "Yeah," he continued. "Same building, different approach. He ended the call and slipped the phone back into his pocket, his gaze steady as he looked at the entrance again. Minutes passed, then another car pulled up. A man stepped out, dressed differently, but carrying himself with a similar calm confidence. He walked into the building without hesitation. Marcus waited. He watched. 10 minutes later, the same man walked back out, his expression thoughtful, but not surprised. Marcus stepped forward slightly. "Well?" he asked. The man looked at him. "They showed me the unit right away," he said. Marcus nodded once. "Same one?" he asked. "Yeah," the man replied. "Said it's still available if I apply today." Marcus let that settle. No reaction, just confirmation. "Thank you," he said. The man nodded and walked away. Marcus stood there for another moment, the building in front of him unchanged, the doors opening and closing as people came and went. The system worked, but not the same way for everyone. He turned and walked down the street, his steps steady, his mind clear. Not holding on to frustration, but holding on to something more precise, awareness. Because once you see how differently the same situation can unfold depending on who is standing at the door, you don't really stop seeing it anywhere else. Marcus didn't leave the block right away. He kept walking past the building, then slowed near the corner, his eyes drifting back once more to the glass doors that opened and closed for everyone without hesitation. The street carried on like any other afternoon, cars passing, people talking, someone across the road unlocking their bike. But the moment he had just experienced didn't move with that same flow. It stayed still in his mind. Not loud, not overwhelming, just clear. He reached the end of the block and stopped again, this time not out of uncertainty, but because something about the situation felt unfinished. Not in a dramatic way, but in a way that suggested there was more to understand than what had already happened. He took out his phone again, not to call someone this time, but to check the listing. The same apartment was still there, still marked as available, the same photos showing the same sunlight, the same empty space that had been taken just minutes ago. Marcus stared at the screen for a moment, then let out a quiet breath and turned back toward the building. When he walked inside again, the lobby felt just as calm as before, neutral, professional, the kind of place designed to feel welcoming without drawing too much attention to itself. The same agent was at the desk, speaking with someone else, her tone light and friendly, her smile easy. Marcus didn't interrupt. He waited to the side, his posture relaxed, his expression neutral. When she finally turned and saw him again, there was a flicker of recognition, followed quickly by something else, something more guarded. "Can I help you?" she asked. Marcus stepped forward slowly. "I'd like to apply for the unit you showed earlier," he said. She hesitated, just for a second. "Like I said before, it's already in process," she replied. Marcus nodded. "Then I'd like to be added as a backup applicant," he said. The request was simple, reasonable, hard to refuse. The agent shifted slightly, her fingers tapping lightly against the desk. "We usually don't do that," she said. Marcus held her gaze. "You showed it to someone else after telling me it was taken," he said calmly. "So I'm just asking for the same opportunity." There was a pause, not long, but enough. "All right," she said finally. "I can give you the application." Marcus nodded once. "Thank you." She handed him a form, along with a pen, her movements precise, controlled. Marcus took them and stepped to a small table nearby, sitting down and beginning to fill it out. His handwriting was steady, his pace unhurried, every detail completed carefully. Not because he needed to prove anything, but because he understood how small things could become reasons for delay if left incomplete. As he wrote, he could hear the agent speaking with another person at the desk, her tone returning to that same easy rhythm, that same smooth interaction that seemed to come naturally in other moments. Marcus didn't look up. He finished the form, reviewed it once, then stood and walked back to the desk. "Here you go," he said, placing it down. The agent took it, glancing over the details quickly. "We'll review this and get back to you," she said. Marcus nodded. "When should I expect to hear something?" he asked. "Usually within a few days," she replied. Marcus considered that for a moment. "I'll follow up tomorrow," he said. She gave a small, polite smile. "That's fine." Marcus turned and walked toward the door again, stepping outside into the same steady movement of the street. This time, he didn't stop immediately. He kept walking, his pace even, his thoughts quieter now, more subtle. The next morning he called. "Hi, I'm following up on an application I submitted yesterday," he said. There was a brief pause on the other end. Then the familiar voice responded. "Yes, I see it here," the agent said. "It's still under review." Marcus nodded, even though she couldn't see him. "All right," he said. "I'll check back later." He ended the call and went about his day, not waiting by the phone, not letting the situation take over more space than it needed to. But he didn't forget it either. Later that afternoon, his phone rang. "Hi, this is the leasing office," the agent said. "I wanted to let you know that the unit you applied for is still available, and we'd like to move forward with your application." Marcus paused for a moment, not surprised, but not reacting immediately either. "I thought it was already in process," he said. There was a brief silence. "Things changed," she replied. Marcus nodded slightly. "I see," he said. "If you're still interested, we can finalize everything today," she added. Marcus looked out the window, the city moving as it always did, unchanged. "I'll come by," he said. When he returned to the building, the interaction felt different. The same desk, the same space, but the tone had shifted. The agent greeted him with a more direct smile this time, her posture more open, her words more certain. "We're ready to move forward," she said. Marcus nodded once. "All right." She walked him through the process, the paperwork, the details, everything moving smoothly now, efficiently, without hesitation. The same system that had seemed complicated the day before was now working exactly as it should. Within minutes, everything was done. "You're all set," she said, handing him the keys. Marcus took them, holding them for a moment before speaking. "Thank you," he said. Then, after a brief pause, he added, "I just wish it had been this simple yesterday." The agent didn't respond right away, because again, there was nothing to argue with. Marcus turned and walked toward the elevator, the keys in his hand, the door closing behind him as he stepped inside. The reflection in the metal panel showed the same calm expression, the same steady presence, unchanged from the day before, but the awareness was different. Not louder, just clearer. When he stepped into the apartment, the sunlight was the same, the space just as open as it had been when he first saw it. Nothing about the room showed what it had taken to get there. He walked in slowly, placing his bag down, looking around, taking in the quiet. Everything felt normal now. But normal didn't erase the path it took to get there. Marcus walked to the window, looking out over the street below, people moving, cars passing, life continuing in its steady rhythm. And in that moment, one thought stayed with him. The opportunity was always there. It just wasn't always given the same way. And once you understand that difference clearly, even without anyone saying it out loud, you carry it with you, not as something heavy, but as something real. Something that shapes how you see the next door before you even knock.